who is one of my role models in the industry. Lynn is not only an incredible event planner, destination planner all over the country, all over the world, she also has an incredible set of stunning venues in Charleston and nearby Charleston. And I'm just excited to talk to her about how her world has shifted over the last months, and thinking through how events will come back and how she's adjusting to the new world that we're living in. I'm also excited to talk to her about her founding story. So I know Lynn has got a great history in the events industry and how she started. I actually first heard her present and engage, and I was blown away kind of watching how she's built her business over the last 4 or 5 years. I think she's got one of the best brands in the industry of the types of events she does, what she stands for, how she has built her brand to so many incredible people. And she's just a great role model. So I'm excited to have her. So I'm going to invite Lynn in, hopefully soon. This is where I really always pray to myself that I'm not going to do an Instagram fail and not be able to invite her in, but I'm going to wait for her to join. And I'm excited to have her. Also wanted to say that her team is so incredible to work with. We've been working with them over the past year, and I will tell you that her profile page, I just look at those events and I'm like, hashtag goals. So I hope you guys can check out on PartySlate.com Lynn Easton's profile page, Easton Events. She's absolutely amazing. So hopefully Lynn is going to come in soon. If you're already in there, Lynn, you can maybe try to come out and come back in and then ask to join our Insta Live. This is where I'm like working from home and really wish I had a production team here with me. I did one with David Tutera and I'm like, stretch it out until he joins, and we finally figured it out. But I also want to thank my events team at PartySlate. Give a shout out to Kylie and Lauren and Amanda on social media, who are always supporting me and helping me through this. Okay, Easton has joined. That's a good sign. Now we just need her. There we go. View. Yes. Yay. Everyone's probably laughing at me right now. That's okay. I'm not a professional here.
How about that? Woo!
Lynn, you should have seen me with David. David.
I did see the beginning of it. Yeah, it was. You actually handled it really well.
And then I have like a dog coming in and kids coming in. So it's a little crazy here.
Absolutely. Listen, this is all it's all new tricks here, kids, right?
Yes. So I was telling in my setup that you've been a really great role model for me in this industry. I saw you present very early on in the PartySlate journey, where I just had a PowerPoint and a dream, and I'm seeing you present and engage about the business that you've built. And I just really admire the brand, not only the business, but the brand that you've created around Easton Events. So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about your founding story. We're going to get to COVID and get to kind of the impact, but tell us a little bit about your brand and your business that you've built, because I think you're one of the best branding professionals I've seen in the industry. No pressure.
High praise. Thank you.
No pressure.
No pressure. Exactly. Well, I mean, to take you all the way back where this whole thing, I mean, I think so many of us like get into their careers, serendipitously. And for me, that was very much the case. I had been a producer at CNN, in my very early days, an associate producer. And I started a family. I moved to Charlottesville, Virginia. And a friend of mine said to me, she had just moved to town. Are there any wedding planners in town? And I said, I don't think so. But listen, I've done an hour of TV every night. I'll give this to you as my wedding gift.
Yes.
And little did I know what I was giving her. Just I thought it was
give you a good gift for that.
Exactly. It was a really good gift. Yes. So I did the wedding, and I was, I really believe that, you make your own luck, but so much of it is fortune as well.
Yes.
And I was very fortunate that she had, she was, beautiful looking and had a beautiful estate and could afford to let me hire vendors that would protect me from my completely unknowledgeable self, which they did do. And we had really, and I think because, I didn't know anything about it. I mean, I just did things, I had an a cappella group come in and surprise her with a song, and and so I just did things. This is so crazy. You could never do this today. I did the whole floor. That She was from South Africa, so we did it with this out of Africa theme, and I did an entire tent with Persian carpets, and
Wow.
just like because you can't
And this
afford
was
to
your
do
first
it.
wedding. This was the first one you've done.
This is the first one. So,
Yeah.
but I had a lot of help getting there. But basically, the bottom line is somebody called the next day and said, I was at the wedding last night. My daughter's getting married. I would love for you to help. And I said, oh, whoa. I am not a wedding planner. Sorry. And she kept calling me. And finally, I was like, absolutely, I'll do it for you. So that's sort of how I got into the business.
Yes.
And I worked very regionally and very, happily early on. And my husband's passion has always been wine. And, he would always say, don't you think we should have a winery? And I'd be like, never, no.
Yeah.
Because it's such a great way to lose money, basically.
Yes.
And so, this about 8-9 years ago, I was complaining about the fact that I have more people coming to me and saying, God, I would love to have you plan my wedding in this region. But I didn't have any place to take them because there weren't enough luxury venues. So Dean said, what if we do that winery and we add a space for you to do weddings, and then we'll have both. And so that's what we did. It is interesting that, I haven't done a wedding in several years at Pippin because we've really become, destination planners and are mostly on the road. We're adjusting to that. But that's how we got started. That's how we got Pippin Hill opened, and then we went down and we went down to Charleston to find another property to do another Pippin Hill in Charleston. And our real estate agent said to us, and Zero George is our little boutique hotel down
I've been there, and I love that place. Love it.
Well, thank you. So, our real estate agent said, we had spent like literally 10 days looking for property to do another Pippin Hill. Couldn't find it, way too expensive. And she said, would you like to the last stop, we're just going to go look at a little B&B, not an Airbnb, like a bread and breakfast.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, we really do not see ourselves owning a bed and breakfast. And she said, it's so charming. Just humor me.
Yes.
And
just take a look. Yes.
Just take a look. And true story, Dean and I got out of the car, and there are these beautiful gates, as you know, those big iron gates.
Beautiful.
And I literally looked at Dean. We hadn't even gone in. Yeah. And I put my hand out and I went, we're going to buy this, aren't we? Because it was so compelling.
He loved it.
There's the great saga that goes on that our original investors came and did a walkthrough, and a month later, and we're like, we don't see it, but thank goodness we believe in you because we're going to let you do it, but we do not see it.
Yeah.
So it did take some vision to bring it to life, and we had a lot of talented people, making that happen, and we love it. It's we're about to add on 5 new sort of wonderful suites that'll be, for sort of longer term residences, zero, we're going to call them. So that'll be fun. So we're growing. So.
I'd like to have a PartySlate office there one day.
There you go.
Gotta have dreams.
Absolutely.
So tell us, you have these beautiful destination events you're doing, and I know I've talked so much about how you've built your business and how you get referrals, and I love the fact that you're all dressed, you and your team, and have the earpiece, and you've said, I love that story, how it's easy for people to notice who you are at these events, and actually it's a great, you're not like you're trying to build new business at the event, but people come to you like, oh, I have an event coming up, and you have the authority.
But there are some smart people in the industry who have said, have really gotten out there and said, if you think about going to every wedding, there are people who are guests who will be your clients.
Exactly.
So, and not that you're aggressively doing it, but it is obviously always an opportunity. So,
yes.
And we got into this idea of we found these beautiful little, and they were the lower range of Carolina Herrera dresses, but they were so lovely, and that's where this started. And I tell the story that I was at a wedding, and a mom comes up to me and says, I saw you in your dress, and I thought it was so pretty, and then I thought, I saw another person in the same dress, and I thought, I wonder if that woman feels a little more uncomfortable because she's older than the younger woman who's wearing the same dress. And then I saw like 7 more people in the same dress. So I figured, you're a team. Who are you?
Yes.
And I said, I am Lynn of Easton Events, and we booked that mother of the bride. I mean, not that we do every time, but, we created a moment for someone to engage with us. And and I just think that, and that is, back to your original, that's sort of part of our branding. We're going to look a certain way. The girls are always, we have, gosh, I'm really telling tales on myself, but we have outfits that we wear for setup days. Like today's the white day, today's the blue day. I mean, this is we want wherever we are, we want everyone to basically know. We want sort of people to feel that there's a gravitas when we're there.
I agree.
And you see that when you can clearly see that all of this team is a team.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a signal for people.
Yeah, no, I really like that because, doing these large scale events, I don't even 50 to 500 people, it's so much coordination. Many people don't realize how much work it takes to make these Broadway shows happen. And the fact that you come with this professional presence and with this, approachability, but also like we're in charge. I just thought that story really stuck with me. So I remembered that. But let's go back to the present time. We're in this pandemic. It is something, as an older founder, I say experience, but I've been through 9/11, I've been through 2008. And there's a lot of similarities, but this is the first time where we can't be together. And it's like nothing I've ever seen before. And we're adjusting at PartySlate by doing, I find my mission is digital education and helping small business and, helping people during this time of isolation build their brand through whether it's PartySlate or LinkedIn or Instagram, helping people. How are you adjusting in your business to this crazy environment that we're in right now?
I guess a multifold question. I mean, I think interestingly enough, from a process point of view, since we have offices in Charlottesville and Charleston, and our brides are, they're in, New York or Dallas or Los Angeles, we have always communicated with our brides via Zoom. So
that's great.
Here's my first Zoom story. So I was we were really, really, really early adapters. I mean, years and years ago. And that movie, The Devil Wears Prada, had been out, and she leans in when she's putting on. She goes in, she's putting on her makeup or whatever, and she's looking at the screen of her computer. And that had caught my eye, and I was sitting there, and the video came up, and I thought, oh gosh, I grabbed something, and I'm like going like this, and I'm going like this, and all of a sudden I hear a. And the father and the bride was watching me do this. I'm like, oh, so busted.
Yeah.
Just watching me put on makeup. That's a little embarrassing. So that's how we started our journey with Zoom. We have learned to know when they're on, so we don't do that. We always, a tip to anybody who's on Zoom, I think one of our things that we do is we always mute, and we get on a phone call so that the team is talking to each other before a client gets on. Yes. And then we go off our phones and we go on, just because it's interesting that it unsettles clients. We find like when we're bantering, because we're waiting or we're bantering. Yes. And they come on, and sometimes they can't get their video on, then they feel like they're listening in. So it's something that's our little tip of what we do. We stay on our phones. So from a process point of view, we really haven't changed how we're connecting with our clients. Yeah. From and a little bit even with our team, I probably spend more time connected to the team now than I did before, because I don't know, because we need each other. I think and we all cry a lot. I mean, I think I'm not a crier. I never cry. I've cried more in the last 7 weeks than I have.
Yeah. I'm with you. We've had crying in our leadership meetings, and it's a time where we have so many demands, and this has never happened to us before. So I think we are a lot more vulnerable with each other, and I think we have gotten closer in this time. Yeah.
And from an industry point of view, if somebody said, what are the silver linings of this whole thing? I have spent a delicious amount of time on the phone with people I so love in the industry. It's part of why I so love what we get to do. It is really in part #because of Engage. They brought us together, and we are all really, really good friends. And so I spend, a lot of time FaceTiming with, and I do think it's sort of interesting the way we've, the curve of this whole thing. And the first week of denial, the second week of, oh my God, the third week, and how this whole thing has ebbed and flowed has really been interesting. I do think we're now collectively realizing that we just need to lean into this, that it is totally unknown. And I have conversations all the time with my brides that say, what should I do and how far should I postpone to?
Yeah, what advice do you have? Because we do have both event professionals and brides and grooms that are joining this Insta Live, and of course, this was recorded, so we'll share this. What advice do you have? You're working with your brides. No one knows the answer, but what advice do you have for them?
So, and it's not going to make everybody happy, and it doesn't, even as event planners, it doesn't really make us happy. But I do think you should postpone at this point as far forward as you are comfortable postponing to. Mm-hmm. And several of our brides, our 2020 brides, did not want to go into 2021.
Yes.
And so we went as late as we could in 2020. But there are so many things you have to consider. I mean, if you are an October bride right now, particularly in the South, where they're opening and you wanted to postpone, you could have huge loss in your, you could lose you could lose all of your deposits. So part of this is going to be where are you, what's the financial risk? So I think the answer is you have to weigh out the financial risk to what I feel my heart. I was just on the phone with one of our wonderful brides, and what's so hard is that this should be a time of, I'm 3 months out from my wedding, and this is so fun. And our conversations are like, will it happen? Will I have to cut my guest list? So all of us, our heart goes out to everyone who's.
We have 3 PartySlate brides, and we had a kind of a company Zoom with them just to empathize with all the people visiting PartySlate and what they're going through. And it's just such a hard time. There's a lot of tears and angst, and some are like, I'm going to celebrate on the beach with a small group, and others are like, I want my dream wedding. I'm pushing it out. So it's a tough time.
Yeah. Oh, and we're going to do something called Elope with Easton, just because we're getting people who are like, okay, we want to get married right now. We want to postpone a year. And so we're really big on marry now, party later, or marry now, celebrate later. That I think it's so hard to say you're not going to get married for a year.
Yes.
I mean, when you're ready to get married and then you're not going to get married for a year. So I think you elope, you get married, you take 10 people, you do something special and wonderful. You get to have a second anniversary. There's a plus, right?
Yes.
And then you postpone the party, and I think there is, people think, but should you wear your dress again? And I'm like, absolutely, you wear your dress again, and you walk down the aisle, and you do.
That's what the celebrities do. They do a big wedding in Italy, and then another one in LA.
Exactly. So I think, another really interesting outcome of this is that I think the rules I don't want to say there are no rules, but boy, they have really paled now. I think that we are, somebody's said, well, can I send out the same? And I'm like, well, you should do whatever your heart tells you to do.
I agree. There's a lot more flexibility to what feels authentic, what feels right to do.
And I do think that will, when somebody says, how will this affect us in the future? I do think that is going to have forever impact.
Yes.
That I think forever impact is going to be, I do think we're going to start to look, and I know this is hard for us to get our head wrapped around, but this idea that we can only marry on Saturday, I think is something that is slowly breaking down too.
Yes.
That the only elite day to get married on is a Saturday. I think, in Europe, you get married during the week. That's so chic to get married on a Thursday.
Yes.
So I do think that we'll have to start to deal with that as things like, I think we all know that we've got this around for a while, and we're going to be bobbing and weaving.
I agree. And what advice do you have for so you have so many great partners. I see Ed Libby, Bob Conti's on here saying yes, service now, party later. We're seeing a lot of those comments. What advice do you have to your amazing creative partners that you work with that are struggling right now?
I think and I say this for myself, we have battened down the hatches, and we are, And it's interesting that at one point I said we're hibernating, and then I realized, well, that really isn't the right way to go about this. But we're just contracting. I think to the greatest extent that we can pull back, we will get through this. We will. There will be another side. People will have wonderful, amazing weddings. Memories will be made. I mean, it is just this. This is just a crazy. I mean, such uncharted territory.
Yeah.
And so I think, and we are as a planning company, we are really supporting our vendors. We really understand how hard this is, and we'll do everything that we can to be sure they come out as whole as they can on the other side.
Yeah, and I think what the advice we're giving to all event professional venues is this is one of the most rare opportunities, again, silver lining, to work on your business versus in your business, and really reflecting on, as you guys have done such a great job, building a stronger brand, of course, a digital presence when you're from home, whether it's, LinkedIn marketing, networking on PartySlate, building your photo portfolio, creating content. And it doesn't have to be in your face content with huge parties, but it's building that evergreen content when people are looking on Google and are looking on Instagram or LinkedIn to have that strong presence. So that's what we're really encouraging people to do. But we have go ahead.
It's so hard to do that. I mean, it's really hard to produce that. I mean, it is amazing. Having not ever done it before, when I do these little, pieces, and it's like, oh my God, just so I feel that we're all in this together.
Yes, and I think we have started a hashtag called Celebrate Soon, and I love, again, I'll give Ed Libby and Bob a call out for the Dreamers Always Dream.
Right, so good.
That's
such a great idea.
Yeah, it was a great idea.
Go Ed.
Yeah, we're doing a hashtag called Celebrate Soon, and encouraging people to look back at past celebrations, and with a little nostalgia, we will celebrate soon, but also look forward to what we will celebrate in the even if it's a smaller format of that, like the elopement or whatever. But I was just wondering what you, Lynn, are excited to celebrate soon at whatever level.
So you're gonna get
I tried on many Zooms.
Seeing my grandchildren. So, I've missed my grandchildren's birthdays this year. So it's like, that's just, I think, and whether it's your grandchildren or your children or, just your friends or your, whatever it is. I mean, your mothers, how many people are not together on Mother's, sorry.
Yes.
But anyway, that's really, I think, that's what we all miss. Sorry. You see what I'm talking about?
Yeah, my parents are out in California with my brother-in-law, nieces and nephews, and we've done so many Zooms. And I always say my mom is so good in a crisis. This is when she comes on so strong, and she's like, we're going to do our Zooms, we're going to eat together, and I'm just so thankful. I will say that my mom is such a rock in our family, because we will celebrate even if we can't be together. But I can't wait till we can be together.
That's exactly right. We can't wait for us to all be together. Yeah.
Yes.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna happen. We are trying to look for silver linings. My daughter Jordan, I have 3 kids, 11, or I guess they're now 12. We just had a virtual birthday, 12, and 14. Like, Mom, why do you keep saying silver lining? It's not a term.
Right.
They're kind of like, oh, she's saying that again. I'm like, that's the only way we're getting through this, is looking for silver linings. The sunset walks that, we're taking at night, and the Zooms with college friends that maybe we're having more of them that we wouldn't have had before.
100%. Right.
Yeah. And I mean, from a business perspective, we've been impacted in a big way, but just stepping up for the industry and being strong, and these weekly digital events that we were having with 500 people and sharing geeky knowledge. Like, there are some silver linings here, that we're trying to look for as much
exactly.
as well, any other advice that you want to share on kind of managing through a crisis and managing through kind of uncharted territory? I keep looking. I know we're doing the best we can, but to leaders on what they're doing to keep their team motivated, to keep their clients optimistic. Any thoughts on that?
I just think it's lots of connection. I mean, from a client point of view, I just think you need to be talking to your clients. They need to know that you're here. You need. I mean, we're really trying to do weekly calls, which we wouldn't necessarily do, let's say if you're getting married in October, you might not do. So we're really just trying to create the connection so that they know that we are there for them. And, we the other day we were crying with our bride the other day on the phone.
Yeah.
I think I was crying. She started crying.
I cry when other people cry.
Yeah,
so.
Right. But it's because I felt I just had a wave of like, oh my gosh, how she must feel. So I just think that I just think that's all we can do at this point, is that we need to stay as connected as possible. If you have joy, give joy every day. Find someone. Like, we all know that we are so the lucky ones because we're sitting in our lovely houses, and anything we can do to give joy to someone else, I think it should be our mission now. And I think my other message is that I think when I started this whole thing, I was just very rigid about how it was going. This is what's going to happen, and here's how we are, and this was the thing. And then within 10 days, I realized that, there's no prescription for this.
Yes.
There is no floor plan, no map, no roadmap. And I just think this is a test to see how flexible we can be, how you can just let this, it's a train, it's a wave, whatever it is, and it feels like it's about to smack us, and we just need to be flexible as we deal with this. So, it's hard. I mean, it's not in my DNA to be that way.
Yes.
And we're really learning to, like, okay, so this is how we're going to do this.
Yes. Yeah. And how do you? Last question I meant to ask you earlier, and then I'll let you go because I know everyone's got a lot. But how do you think events will come back? And I keep asking everyone, and everyone's asking me. But let's say the next 6 months, and then thinking further than that, we're thinking of things like on our profile pages, adding health and safety section, and we're seeing all these other new types of celebrations coming. So we're trying to be as flexible as possible to help event professionals really in a nimble way market themselves as we come out of this. But what do you think these first events may look like?
I think the first events, I'm being pretty honest here, I think the first events are going to be very much like our events in the past, that I think until we know what's ahead of us, we're going to come out. And if you want to look at what's going to, let me say, if you're looking at events in a year and a half from now, I think more weddings are going to be at home, less people are going to be traveling, numbers are probably going to be smaller. But right now, if you talk about what's going to happen in the next few months, I think we, interestingly enough, potentially have a bubble. Mm-hmm. That a bubble of still having, the ability to not wear a mask. Like maybe wait staff will wear a mask, but people aren't going to wear a mask. So I think there's going to be this optimistic look at where we are, and it really is, as we all know, it's really whether the tail comes and smacks us.
Yes.
Right. And then if it does, because, and people are talking about, well, are you going to have infrared at your, I don't think that's where we are right now. I honestly, and I think it depends. And again, this is such a regional thing. If you're living in New York City, what I'm saying is probably not right. You probably are. You could be you could be holding a temperature at every guest who walks in.
Yeah.
In the Mid-Atlantic and the South and parts of the Midwest, you're certainly. I would doubt you're going to do that in the next few months. So I just think, again, we don't know.
We don't know.
We don't know. And not only do we not know, it's also completely dependent on the location where you're going to be in.
Yes.
So, and how we're going to, and what we do know is that if you look ahead, we all know we're going to find there will be a solution for this.
Yes.
We will go back to celebrating these wonderful moments in everyone's lives, and and we may need to be patient to get there.
Yeah.
And we're not very good at being patient.
No, we want it to come back to normal right away. Right. And I think this is the first time where, yes, it's government restrictions, but it's also the guests, the comfort of the guest and the host.
Right.
We had one of our PartySlate brides, a person on our account team, who said, I don't want to walk down the aisle with a mask on. So it was very, that's not what she wants.
Right, and I don't think many brides will. I think, and again, you get like I've said things that I've been so wrong over the last 8 weeks. So I take. I mean, I totally understand that what I'm saying. I could be wrong in 4 months from now, but right now, I don't think that's where people's heads are at.
Yeah.
If we have to adapt to that over, and again, I think it's going to be a period of time. If we had to say, the tail comes back, and people still want to get married, and we have to wear masks, then we will adjust because we are great adjusters. I mean, we as human beings will adjust to making this work. And maybe what you'll do is you'll have like a little elopement of 10 people, which will be so cozy and so beautiful. And then you'll have a bigger party and you'll have more constraints to it. Or maybe people will have, 80 people parties and everyone there at that table will be loved and cherished by you rather than a 300 person party.
Yes.
So I just think we've got a couple of years to, and again, is it 3 months? Is it a year?
I think a lot depends on obviously treatment and vaccine,
right,
and when those things come and how quickly they come, and no one knows the answer. And so I think at PartySlate every week we have things that we look at and we adjust. But I think the thing we're trying to do is be a flexible, adjustable platform that helps you tell your story in the way your business is being adjusted and keeps people informed of how things are going to come back. And we are not the health and safety experts, but we're going to project what the experts are saying to make people feel comfortable. I think that's how we're adjusting. But no one knows. But I think my heart hurts and feels for everyone in the industry on both sides, the party hosts, the brides, the grooms. I'm a mitzvah mom. I have my daughter's B'nai Mitzvah in May. And so, I had this vision of this family reunion and celebration. And so we're all adjusting. And I think that's all we can do. And I just am so proud of the innovation and the changes people are making just to stay alive, to help people feel comfortable. And we will get through this. And I keep telling my kids, this is a moment. Let's, hopefully never go through it again.
Hopefully never happen again. Right.
But we hopefully be more ready. We'll be more ready. So
you'll be more ready.
Yeah, I hope. But Lynn, I thank you again for being a strong leader, for being vulnerable, for telling us your founding story and sharing your insights. And I know we're going to get through this, but I always tell people it helps to talk about it. That's therapy.
Absolutely. Totally.
This was a good therapy session.
Lovely to see you. Thank you.
Lovely to see you too, and hope we will celebrate soon. And thank you again for your time and supporting PartySlate from the very beginning. It means a lot to me.
Absolutely. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.